The annual Peterson family reunion was in full swing at Uncle Richard's beachfront mansion in Newport, a $12 million testament to old money and older attitudes. The July sun sparkled off the Atlantic, almost as brightly as Aunt Margaret's Van Cleef and Arpels diamonds as she held court on the Brazilian ipewood veranda, passing judgment on the family's black sheep Amy. "Look at him," she stage-whispered to my cousin Victoria, her voice carrying deliberately across the deck like a perfectly aimed social dagger. "Can't even afford a proper suit for a family gathering. Those boat shoes must be at least 3 years old. That's what happens when you abandon the family business for... What was it again, darling?" "Global logistics," I replied calmly, sipping my water while others enjoyed $2,000 bottles of Krug champagne. My worn Sperry boat shoes and simple linen shirt were a deliberate choice, though they didn't know that yet. The Patek Philippe watch hidden under my sleeve cost more than most of their cars. Uncle Richard emerged from his climate-controlled wine cellar, silver hair gleaming in the sunlight as he cradled a bottle of 1982 Lafite Rothschild like a newborn. "James, my boy. Still playing with cargo ships? How's that working out for you? Still chartering those little container vessels?" The assembled Peterson clan turned to watch the familiar ritual, the successful family members reminding the outsider of his place. They were quite a collection. Investment bankers in bespoke suits, real estate moguls dripping with casual luxury, hedge fund managers checking stock tickers on their Bulgari phones. Old money meeting new money with me apparently having no money. Cousin Rebecca adjusted her Hermes scarf, shooting me a pitying look. "James, darling, I know a wonderful headhunter. She specializes in career rehabilitation for people who've made unfortunate choices." "Business is growing," I said simply, watching the boats in the harbor below. One particular vessel hidden behind the marina's largest pier brought a slight smile to my face. 300 feet of maritime innovation that would soon shatter their carefully constructed social hierarchy. "Growing." Cousin Bradley snorted, adjusting his Rolex Daytona, the same model I'd declined when offered by the CEO of Rolex himself last month. "Last I checked, your little shipping company wasn't even listed on any major exchange. Meanwhile, my hedge fund just cleared $10 billion in assets. That's billion with a B, cousin, in case you've forgotten how to count the zeros." I nodded politely, remembering the meeting I'd had last week with Bradley's largest clients. They'd been very interested in moving their investments somewhere more innovative. My company's new automated logistics system had caught their attention, especially after it had revolutionized 3 major shipping routes. "James," my mother intervened, her tennis bracelet catching the light as she touched my arm, trying to be diplomatic, "we just worry about you. You had such promise at Harvard Business School before you quit to start this venture. Top of your class, offers from Goldman Sachs, McKinsey." "Quit is a strong word," I corrected, watching a flock of seabirds circle above the harbor. "I prefer to think of it as pursuing an opportunity. Sometimes the biggest opportunities don't come with prestigious letterheads." "Opportunity." Aunt Margaret's laugh tinkled like ice cubes in baccarat crystal. "Darling, opportunity is what you gave up. Richard offered you a vice presidency at Peterson Financial. Corner office, 7-figure bonus package, summer house allowance. Instead you're what? Chartering fishing boats? Moving cargo containers? Really, James, it's beneath the family name." "Something like that," I agreed mildly, checking my phone as a message came in. The captain's text was brief. "In position, sir. Ready when you are. All 28 crew members standing by. Helicopter fueled and waiting." Victoria sipped her champagne, her new engagement ring from some minor European prince catching the light. "At least tell me you've given up that ridiculous idea about autonomous shipping technology. What was it you called it? The future of maritime logistics." "The future is closer than you think," I replied, but Uncle Richard cut me off, swirling his wine with practiced sophistication. "You know, son, that offer still stands. Entry level now, of course. Can't have you jumping straight to VP after your experimental phase. But it's time to come back to the real business world. Learn the family business from the ground up like I did." I glanced at my watch, an apparently simple Philippe Dufour that had cost more than Uncle Richard's car, not that they'd recognize the brand. Only 10 existed in the world, and 3 of them belonged to tech billionaires who'd begged to invest in my company. "Actually, I should step out for a moment. Need to take a call about a delivery." "Delivery?" Victoria smirked. adjusting her Cartier bracelet. What, someone's fishing rod's getting shipped late? Or did one of your little containers fall off the boat? Not exactly, I replied, moving toward the deck's edge. Though speaking of ships. Right on cue, a massive yacht began moving into view from behind the pier. Even from this distance, its scale was impressive. 300 feet of cutting-edge naval architecture, gleaming white against the blue water. Solar-powered panels glinted along its sides, and the helicopter pad on the upper deck looked ready for action. The boat made Uncle Richard's prized 80-foot luxury yacht look like a dinghy. My word, Uncle Richard breathed, his wine forgotten. That must be Jeff Bezos' new vessel. Or maybe that Saudi prince who was in the news. The one who bought that football team. Look at the lines on that boat, Bradley whistled, professional envy creeping into his voice. Must be the new Lursen model. I heard they only made 3, all sold to billionaires before construction even started. The yacht drew closer, its name becoming visible on the bow in elegant lettering hand-laid in gold leaf, Black Sheep. My phone rang. I answered on speaker, letting everyone hear. Mr. Peterson? This is Captain Martinez. Your yacht, Black Sheep, is ready for your inspection, sir. Shall we send the helicopter to collect you and your guests? The chef has prepared lunch for 30, and the submarine is ready for afternoon excursions. The sound of Uncle Richard's $1,000 wine bottle shattering on the deck was remarkably satisfying, almost as much as watching Aunt Margaret's diamond necklace catch on her silk scarf as she whirled to stare at me in shock. The veranda fell silent except for the gentle lapping of waves and the distant purr of the approaching helicopter. Aunt Margaret's champagne glass slipped from her manicured fingers, creating a spreading stain on her $12,000 Oscar de la Renta dress. Your yacht. Uncle Richard stammered, aged cognac dripping forgotten from his Italian loafers. That's impossible. That vessel must cost $380 million. I supplied casually, straightening my simple linen shirt. Plus another $40 million in custom technology upgrades. The autonomous navigation system alone cost more than your mansion. Bradley rushed to the railing, squinting at the magnificent vessel through designer sunglasses. But your shipping company, it's not even listed. Publicly listed, I corrected, watching the yacht's helicopter pad illuminate for landing. We went the private route. More efficient. Last valuation put us at roughly 18 billion. That's billion with a B cousin since you're so fond of counting zeros. Victoria's minor European prince nearly choked on his caviar. 18 billion? For a shipping company. For a maritime technology company, I explained as the sleek helicopter approached. Those ridiculous, autonomous shipping ideas? They've revolutionized global logistics. Our AI-driven navigation systems control 40% of international shipping lanes now. Every major port uses our automation software. My phone buzzed again. I put it on speaker. Mr. Peterson, Secretary of Transportation, is confirming dinner aboard tonight. The Chinese maritime minister asks if he could join as well. And Mr. Musk sent another acquisition offer. Decline Elon's offer, I replied, enjoying the way Uncle Richard's face paled at my casual dismissal of the world's richest man. Tell the secretary 7 o'clock is fine, and of course the minister is welcome. The chef knows their preferences. Mom sank into a teak deck chair, her tennis bracelet catching the light. But you live in that tiny apartment. Drive that old car? The apartment is the penthouse of a building I own, I said gently. The old car is a custom Porsche designed to look understated. I prefer to let my work speak for itself. The helicopter was circling now, its downdraft sending empty champagne flutes rolling across the deck. Captain Martinez's voice came through again. Sir, shall I send the tender to collect your guests? The submarine crew is standing by for the afternoon reef tour. Submarine? Aunt Margaret whispered weakly. A custom deep-sea exploration vessel, I nodded. Part of our marine research division. We're mapping underwater shipping routes that could revolutionize Pacific trade. The Japanese government is particularly interested. Uncle Richard found his voice, though it quavered slightly. The vice presidency offer is worth less than what I make in interest per hour, I finished kindly. Though I appreciate the sentiment. By the way, you might want to move your investments from Bradley's fund soon. His largest clients signed with us last week. Bradley's Rolex-adorned wrist went slack. What? They were quite impressed with our AI-driven investment algorithm, I explained. It's a side project really. Uses our shipping data to predict market trends. Hasn't been wrong yet. The helicopter touched down on Uncle Richard's lawn, its gleaming black surface emblazoned with my company's logo. The pilot stepped out, immaculate in a crisp uniform, and opened the cabin door with a bow. "Sir," he called over the slowing rotors, "the yacht's chef wants to know if your guests have any dietary restrictions for the caviar service. He's prepared almos, beluga, and the rare golden ostra you procured last month." Victoria's prince dropped his champagne flute. "Golden ostra? That costs more than your title, I believe," I smiled. Though money isn't really the point. Success isn't about what you can buy, it's about what you can build. My phone chimed with another message. The assistant's voice was apologetic. "Sir, Forbes needs to confirm some details for their cover story. They're calling it The Black Sheep Billionaire, How a Harvard Dropout Revolutionized Global Shipping." Also, the Nobel Committee in Economics sent their preliminary notification. Sunset painted the Atlantic gold as we stood on the Black Sheep's upper deck, the helicopter safely stowed below. The yacht's 300 feet of maritime innovation made Uncle Richard's prized vessel look like a bath toy from our vantage point. Behind us, staff in crisp uniforms served drinks worth more than my cousin's monthly car payments. "More Macallan 1926, sir?" The chief steward approached with a bottle worth over $2 million. "Or perhaps the Louis XIII Black Pearl for your guests." "The Macallan is fine," I replied, watching my family try to process their new reality. They sat scattered across custom-designed deck furniture, each piece worth more than their supposed generous job offer to me. Uncle Richard swirled his crystal glass, the same nervous gesture he'd used earlier but now tinged with understanding. "James, about the vice presidency offer. Let's discuss something more interesting," I interrupted kindly. "Like how your shipping insurance premiums tripled last month when we declined to provide our safety systems to your fleet." He nearly dropped his glass. "That was you. Our AI navigation systems reduce accidents by 97%, I explained as a school of dolphins played in our wake. "Insurance companies charge accordingly for ships not using our technology. Most major fleets signed with us months ago. Which is why," Bradley cut in, his hedge fund manager's mind finally catching up, "Pacific shipping stocks plummeted last quarter. You disrupted the entire industry." "Disrupted?" I smiled, touching a hidden panel that transformed the deck's glass walls into information displays. "We revolutionized it. Captain, show them the global network." The screens lit up with real-time data. Thousands of ships moving across the world's oceans, all guided by our quantum computers and AI systems. Each vessel represented millions in revenue, billions in cargo, and countless saved lives thanks to our safety protocols. "Those red dots," I pointed to scattered ships moving erratically, "are vessels still using traditional navigation. The blue ones are ours. Notice the difference in efficiency, fuel consumption, and safety records." Aunt Margaret squinted at the displays through her designer glasses. "But how did you afford to develop all this? The startup costs alone." "Remember that worthless algorithm I developed at Harvard?" I asked. "The one you all mocked when I left to start the company? Morgan Stanley offered $2 billion for it before we even launched. We declined." $2 billion. Victoria choked on her champagne. "And you declined?" "Because we knew it was worth more," I nodded. "Last month, Goldman Sachs offered $40 billion for just our AI division. We declined that too." The chief steward approached again. "Sir, the Secretary of Transportation has arrived by helicopter. The Chinese maritime minister's vessel is requesting permission to dock alongside." "Grant it," I said. "And inform the chef we'll need the diplomatic menu tonight." I turned to my stunned family. "Unless you'd prefer to dine back at Uncle Richard's?" Nobody moved. The thought of returning to their previously impressive mansion now seemed laughably provincial. "While we wait for our guests," I continued, "perhaps you'd like a tour? The lower deck houses our quantum computing center. It's more powerful than most government facilities. Above us is the observation lounge with a glass bottom. You can watch whales pass beneath. The submarine bay is particularly interesting." "James," Mom asked softly, Why didn't you tell us? Would you have listened? I said. Every time I tried, you talked about real business and family traditions. So I built my own. My phone buzzed. Sir, Saudi fund offers $30 billion for a small stake. NASA wants our systems for Mars. Decline the Saudis, I said. Tell NASA we'll handle the lunar hub too. Bradley's hands shook. Our family fund is down 40% since your systems launched. 42%, I corrected. Traditional shipping is dead. I warned you last Christmas. The Chinese maritime minister's yacht pulled alongside ours, dwarfed by black sheep. I now own 51% of Peterson Financial, I said. Uncle Richard dropped his glass. Impossible. Our AI bought shares quietly, I explained. We'll modernize the company. Keep the name, family tradition. The U.S. Secretary of Transportation and the Chinese minister came straight to me. Mr. Peterson, the president loves your port modernization plan. Your AI has transformed trade routes, the minister added. In Mandarin, I replied, let's talk over dinner. Servers brought appetizers worth more than my cousin's salaries. James, Uncle Richard whispered, we were wrong about you. No, I said, signing documents. You were wrong about the future. The sun set as satellites tracked ships and quantum computers managed trade. I watched the end of old money and the rise of new innovation. Sometimes the black sheep becomes the captain of industry. And tonight I was sailing into the future.